so much of who we are as a people is because of the ability of our values and our ideals to endure despite the circumstances that exist. And I would say also that the very threat to us, humanity, who we are, is this possibility that our highest values and our aspirations and ideals will not endure. There's a wonderful man named Carter G. Woodson. He wrote a book called The Miseducation of the Negro. He was the founder of what was Negro History Week and eventually became Black History Month. He has a saying in that book that he says the primary cause of human suffering, very powerful statement, the primary cause of human suffering is forgetfulness. People who have forgotten who they are, forgotten their values, forgotten their ideals, forgotten that they were born and made and created in the image of God. So to me, as I look at the American landscape right now, I must say, I find both courage and hope, as well as trepidation and pause. To me, we have powerful cultural forces that are putting us into a sleepwalking state, that are undermining the very essence of who we are as Americans. This deliciously powerful, potent combination of different cultures, different ideals, different backgrounds, different ethnicities. We see it all around us coming around in what we celebrate. What is this celebrity? You see it when you are in the supermarket lines and reading what makes front page of magazines. You see it every time you flip on the television. This constant dose we get of narcissism, of hedonism, of materialism. To me, we have real challenges before us. Abraham Lincoln said it as well. He said, every man, forgive him, he was sexist, but we'll switch it around. He said, everyone was born an original, but sadly most die as copies. In a world where we're seeing the celebration of that which is not holy or righteous, that which does not reflect those enduring values of America, that which does not reflect people who were created with a purpose to magnify and glorify the divine, if we allow this overcoming numbing of our society, we as a nation will not endure. I fear this. I tell you the truth, I fear this. If I look at great empires that have fallen, from the Roman Empire to the Soviet Union, it was not because of external threats or wars. They fell because of internal corruption, because of a failure to manifest who they were as a people, what their values and ideals were. So why am I here? I'm here because I have come to learn at the core essence of the American experience, at the core essence of humanity, there must be voices such as the Jewish voice. Now, I learned this in a roundabout way. Now, Shmuley has told me that one of the great values of Judaism is this conflict between destiny and fate. And he defines those words as a fatalist just says, well, it's going to happen. And a person who believes in destiny believes it's more of an active engagement of creating your own destiny. Well, I'm going to be so courageous now to disagree with him, because I believe that my meeting with Shmuley back in the fall of 1992, when we were both younger, slimmer, and much better looking, meaning I was much better looking than Shmuley. I do believe that that was Basheris. I do believe that that was a destiny or a fate that I had nothing to do with whatsoever. Because all I wanted to do at that point was have dinner with a girl.
You got a Shmuley?
Who was much better looking than Shmuley. And I get a note at the last second to meet me at the Oxford, and of course this goy from Harrington Park, New Jersey said, meet me at the Oxford LaChain Society. What is LaChain? Does anybody know what LaChain is? And I'm going around asking people, LaChain, where's LaChain Society? And somebody tells me, no, Cory, it's the L'Chaim Society. And I said, are you clearing your throat, or is that how you pronounce the word? And he goes, no, it's L'Chaim Society. So I find my way towards this building that Shmuley says was at the center of the town, as if all of Oxford surrounded this one institution. of higher Chabad. But no, it actually was down around. I had to find my way there. I get into an elevator. I come upstairs. I hear all this commotion from behind the door. I charge through the door to find myself smack dab in the middle of an E.F. Hutton commercial. Because I walk in, everybody stops, looks at the large black man. And I wonder, the people must be thinking, what is this large black man doing here? And I was thinking to myself, what is this large black man doing here? And this woman, this very frum, Orthodox-looking woman, runs over to me, whose name happened to be Debbie, and says, the young lady you were supposed to meet could not make it. The story of my romantic life. So I turned to leave, and she asked me a question that changed my life. She said, would you like to join us? Now, I would like to be able to say that I'm so popular that I double book my evenings, but at that point, my social life was not that great. And I sat down on the only seat that was open around this banquet table, which was her seat, and she sat me down next to this man who was different than me in every conceivable way. I was 6'3", he was around 4'3". I was black, he was white, I was clean shaven and handsome, he was fuzzy and indeterminate. And at the second I sat down, I looked across this gulf, and the only time I had seen men with black hats and beards and strings hanging out that I later learned were called tzitzas, I thought if I pulled on one of them, something would unravel. The only time I had seen people was in 1992 in the Crown Heights riots, and I was stiff as a board. But Shmuley turned to me and said, who are you? I told him my name, we started talking, and immediately the theme that he ended with was the theme that began our friendship. I told him that I was an admirer, that one of my dreams was to be a great writer or social commentary, an individual with such powerful social commentary that I could aspire to be in some way a shadow of the great James Baldwin. And he asked me what I had written about, and I told him I had written this article about this conception of tolerance and how I thought it was an awful state of being. This idea that we as Americans, or we in this globe, should just tolerate each other, stomach each other's right to be different, that if we somehow disappeared off the face of the earth, that person disappeared off the face of the earth, we wouldn't be any worse for it because I was just tolerating that person. And I talked to him about I thought we needed to move beyond tolerance and embrace each other, and love each other, and learn from each other, and in many ways put our ego down for a second and open our hearts and let ourselves understand that this person was created in the image of God. He was amazed because literally he had written an article saying the same kind of things. Before I knew it, this wide chasm that separated us had evaporated, and we were deeply engaged in conversation. He taught me my first three Hebrew words, which Rabbi Ganek will correct me because I'm sure I will butcher them. But he basically offered me a drink of vodka because this was Simchas Torah, the most joyous day on the Jewish calendar, and I've never drank in my life. But he said you must drink because according to Judaism, you should never judge somebody until kiso, queso, caso. Until you see. Am I doing all right? Excellent. This is the learned rabbi in Englewood.
He taught me everything I know.
Yes.
He doesn't want to take credit for it.
Yes, yes. Why, God, did you not bring me to his Chabad house, to his shul? I would not have such peril in my political career sitting behind me. He elevates people, the Clintons and the like. Truly. So, for those of you who don't know those three words, one is, according to Judaism, you're not supposed to judge somebody. One means purse, how they are with their money and their generosity. One word means anger, how they are when they're angry. And the other word means cup, how they are when they're drunk. By the end of the night, I was dancing with the Torah until he told me that if I drop it, he joked with me he'd have to fast for a month. I never fumbled in college football at Stanford, but I handed it off to Shmuley to carry it to the end zone. I left there on a high, and I began coming back again and again and again. But we made an agreement early on. To love means to know. And we decided that we were from such different cultures that we would know each other deeply. We would learn each other's history and our culture and our background. And we began exchanging books. And I tell people this all the time. I read more books in my 2 years in Oxford than I did in my 5 years previous at Stanford. And many of them were sourced by Shmuley. He would give me a book about Maimonides. I'd give him a book by Cornel West. He would give me a book by Elie Wiesel. I would give him a book by Alex Haley. And this went on and on and on as we both as ravenous as you can imagine, devoured the knowledge, the wisdom, the philosophy, the ideals in the writings of each other.